In this video, I'm going to introduce you into a concept called localization. Localization is a situation where we have our systems running in other parts of the world than where it was developed, which means we need to be able to reflect things such as date, time, money values, language, everything in that locale where you're at. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how we allow the system to do some of that work for us. To do this, we're going to create a very simple project, and I'm only going to center on how money looks like. So I'm just going to call this a money format project. And then we're just going to create a very simple project here, and we're going to run the code so that we've got it very simply done. I'm going to add a class here. I call this a main driver because it's basically the entrant point, and it has the main in the class file, so this will actually be the Java application file. In this case, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to now basically say I want to create a local variable that I'm going to call locale. Locale is going to basically get a new instance of an object called locale. And this is going to take two arguments being passed to it. The first one is EN, which stands for English. The second one is going to be US, which stands for US English. Now, you can have locales for many different areas, different types. You want to do it that way. This is a very simple way to get it done, and you'll have to look up what the locale is that you want. The next variable we're going to use is going to allow us to actually format the currency. So I'm going to call it a currency formatter. And that is going to actually use a number format. And off that number format, we're going to do a get currency number get currency instance. So I'm going to say get a currency instance is where we're at, so I'm just going to grab that from here, and I'm going to actually pass into this the locale that we just made. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically using the locale, because the reason I'm using locale is this is a display thing, so we can actually separate the display from the actual processing. We're going to probably most of the time set all of our various internal processing to what works best for the data that we're trying to do. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set 3 different data types into values that we're going to say actually represent different types of currency or money that we have. And then I'm going to set a double, and that's going to be money 3, and this is going to now be set up in a floating point. So this is actually the first number that sort of looks like a floating point number to us, or a monetary value. I'm just going to create a quick simple output, and that output is going to basically do the output of what I want to do to display these. So I'm just going to say money output looks like, and I've already missed part of that, and so I'm going to put this here. Now the next step that we're going to do is now we're going to do a system.out.printf. I'm doing the printf because I want to be able just to do a simple output of everything, so it's formatted right. So I'm going to say money1, and I'm going to do a %string. The reason I'm doing the %string is that the call that we're going to be making with a formatter returns the money as a string, which is really pretty good. And so all we have to do is just basically take the money currency and we are going to call off of that a thing that says format. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say format it, and we're going to allow it to call each one of these money values that we have set up as we want. Now that I've got this done, I'm just going to simply pull this out, and I'm going to copy down for each of the monies types of variables we have, and we're going to call these out. Now again, understand the biggest advantage is I've actually only used the data internally how I would need to process it internally. I don't care, because sometimes our numbers are large enough we don't care about the decimal spot in the money. We can make it work, but this gives you all of that. So now when I go to run this, you'll see that what happens in the formatting, it actually formats it. It puts the correct $ in, puts in the correct commas, puts in the decimal spot, and rounds everything to 2 spots for us. This is a very straight, easy way to do it. And again, it allows us to match locale wherever we are. And again, since the system can do it, we might as well do that, so it works really well. Now, to simplify this even more, we can take it to the next step. I can get rid of this locale variable altogether, because all I have to do in place of using a locale is we'll use the uppercase locale, the object itself, and then what we're going to say is default. And we're going to say get the default, and when I do that, now when I run this, this actually will give me the exact same output, except that it's going to take it from my system. If you're running code on a system that's going to be in different zones or different locales, this is probably a good way, because it's going to work. This is not a good way to solve a problem on the web, because you don't know where the user is. So you're going to actually have to do more in a web to pull this off. But simply put, this is how we can start to modify our code and let the locale work for us and the system do its job.